Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's stream. Let's do a sound check. Balric, thank you for the subscription. Keep it up, Starvolt. Thank you very much. Sounds good. Great. Wearing beard makeup? No, I just have this extremely manly beard window. I was born lucky, I guess, with this precious beard. Sunchick, praise the sun. Haku TV with the Lulu. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Your hair is looking amazing. Juna Usao, thank you very much. Thank you. Nice hair. Thank you very much, Quinnicott. TC, were you born with a beard? I was born with the beard genes. Is that beard going gray? There are some gray. Yes. You know, I'm becoming old. Getting of old age. You know, that's a thing. Still. TC, can't wait to see the city. Thank you very much, Fat Duck Gaming. TC patch tomorrow? No, not yet. Quite a few sessions left, and we also discussed internally, and obviously something we want to share with you, that we are looking to set up a specific test phase publicly so we can get a large scale testing on TC content, because as we all know, it's quite sensitive, it's very important, it's a big feature for the game, and we want to make sure that now when we're taking all this time, it should be as good as possible, balanced, and you know, working flawlessly. Got a hype train going, guys. Mortal Online Talia, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. You're killing it, guys. I just you know, another one. Good and making good on promise for public test for TC. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of sensitive parts, right? And we can only find so much with the external test company. They're really good and they go killing it. They crunch through our patch lines of content and tweaks. The thing is, whenever we do big changes, there can often be quite how do I say it? Unplanned effects and changes when you do specific things in the code and how it relates and links to other systems, and it's something that you don't consider at first, and then all of a sudden, bam, something that connects to this system, that connects to the broker system, or whatever that may be, things can, you know, break or become unstable. So not only when we deliver a new content, like specifically TC content, everything else needs to be crunched through to make sure nothing is affected or broken. And that is the boring task of grind testing things. And obviously that's something our player base don't want to do. We can understand that there's a big interest in testing TC, right? And trying those components, getting a little, you know, that head start of preparing to see how it works, and obviously also finding game-breaking things, bugs, or unbalanced things. That is obviously very helpful for the game, so we can make it as good as possible. But with hope, at least, that there will be enough interested players to help us participate in a public test run for TC. And hopefully we can get a lot of numbers. Like I said, it's always been a problem that, like I said, it's tough to get enough players interested to contribute with testing boring stuff, right? And that is why we haven't really run a public test server for the various random things, because we know there's a lot of effort tied to it, and also if we don't get more focus than our company that focus on it professionally, then obviously we're not getting the full effect. But yeah, like I said, I think and hope that there's enough interest, at least within the player base, to actually get a pre-taste of TC. And that can be very helpful for us. I'm good at breaking stuff that shouldn't break. That's good. So you're free to join in and help us with that stress test then, and help us go through TC. Like I said, we're going to announce the step for this when we're getting closer to that. But this is what we're aiming for currently. And yes, we will most likely either cut the costs or, you know, speed up the process so you don't have to do the huge grind and farm and work for, you know, going large cities and obtaining those additional services and testing them, you know, without a reasonable time frame, because we don't plan to run these tests runs for an extreme amount of period of time. We want to just make sure that everything is under control and also so there's enough interest for doing so. But we'll most likely cut cost in half or something like that so you can get proceeding faster. What's the awards you got in Nick's awards? Want to hear about that also. Yeah, so we actually got nominated for a few categories last year. I didn't think much of it. I didn't expect anything to come out of it. There were some huge titles, you know, Black Desert, some other big titles that are billions resources behind them. And there was, you know, hundreds of game nominated. But behold, we actually won so far 5 awards. 3 of them was grand winner, which is number 1, and 2 of them were gold, kind of second place. So yeah, me and the team obviously got very happy to hear that a mixed team of judges coming from the gaming industry dissected the game in details and saw all the depth and love we spend into this awesome game. And I also play with you guys and get to experience the real deal. And so we won Best Indie Game. Obviously, you know, we're independent and we have done something only the giants are competing with, which is quite impressive, I think. We won Open World, Best Open World, Best RPG Game, Best Technology, and Best Innovation. And those are quite impressive categories, I think. It shows that, you know, those judges and game developers saw the depth in our system and actually went through the whole thing to see what Mortal Online actually has to offer under the hood, which you don't get until you really dig into it, as you guys know. We're also a possible nominee for 2 other categories that may be announced a little bit later, and that's more focused on visuals. Obviously, we have a fair chance there as well, because I have yet to see a better looking MMORPG on the markets. So I'm hopeful for that as well. We also won Best Looking Player Base. Indeed, Timajin, indeed. Pretty good job so far. Heck yeah, Henrik, you guys rock. Keep up the hard work. It's paying off. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yeah, it feels awesome, obviously, both to have your backup, your feedback, and obviously external jury of game developers across the world that have examined the game in close detail. So that's awesome. And obviously it gives the team a nice bump of energy and joy, showing that it pays off. The hard work actually pays off, and we're seeing the light in the tunnel, excitement in the future, and we're getting there. So that's awesome. One of the best CEO, Beard. The game is amazing. It's not a secret. Thank you very much. I mean, we're still quite small of a population, I would say, that knows about it. But yeah, obviously the goal is that everyone should know about it, or at least hear about it and give it a try if they're interested in this type of genre. And hopefully a lot more will join in over the coming year. Thank you, God, Henrik, King Henrik, for a sick game. Thank you very much. Are we getting house circus for rituals? We are getting the rituals eventually. I don't have a date for it. I think I commented on that in previous streams as well. We're gonna see where it lands. Did I show a sneak peek yet? No, not yet. Just tuning in. I was a little bit late today as well. Where's Alvar in this picture? I don't know. We have to see if we can do some additional ones over time. Bro, shout out to the GMs, man. Never had more spons GMs in the game ever. Need a daily help chat. Shout out to those homies. Thank you very much, The Lads TV. And it feels really great, obviously, to hear that as well. So we have a slowly growing GM team. There are quite a few are getting educated, getting into the pipeline. And as we said a little bit before, we commented on that we have some lacking system and tools that will make the job much easier for the GMs and obviously also more effective to be able to help you, the players, when something goes wrong. We have identified pretty much everything here now since a few months back, and we have a full new design. So we actually have a huge rebuild of a backend part that connects to this system, which should absolutely show when we're getting to the Epic Game release that we have a much more robust system, much more efficient, much more quick. You can't miss the information between GMs and players. Better tools, like I said, and you will also get this, your option to show your experience with it. So I hope that will also show that we really take that seriously and want to make sure that we can handle our players as absolutely good as possible. So yeah, it feels great to hear that they get some good comments from you guys as well. I know they're doing their absolutely best with what they have. Farmer Joe needs a raise. Obviously, we do absolutely what we can, right? We are a small company. We only need a small profitable margin to be able to obviously make sure that the team gets what they deserve and that we can run the company in the future. It's always been my main goal, obviously, to secure the company and make sure that we can grow as a team and be successful and enjoy our work for many years to come. So we are absolutely moving in the right direction there. Thanks, Farmer Joe, for the great job you do this time. Of course. And, it is a team effort, right? I want to make sure that, we are about 40 developers, and obviously we are a core team from almost since day one. Farmer Joe, the lead coder, been here pretty much since day one. Obviously he's killing it and a really rock solid developer in the company. And then also, obviously, I want to give my words to, to all of the developers in the team. Without every single developer, we wouldn't be in this position, moving forward, improving things and pushing the boundaries as much as we can. I think everyone is doing a really good job. And, I couldn't have done anything, obviously, without the team behind me. So yeah, it's awesome that you guys notice it as well, their hard work. Get new players to play the game is the easy part. The hard part is retaining that player base. Yeah, that's absolutely true. There is Reflex. Whoa, Mode 2 for live. Let's go, TZ. Thank you very much. And Hooly Wooly with the subscription. Thanks a lot. 9 and 30 month. That's impressive. Yeah, for sure. That's another thing that I comment a little bit about. So obviously, getting into the game can be quite a steep curve for a new player for many reasons. And obviously the game, how it introduces you and how it plays you into the world shouldn't be a big obstacle and hurdle. So we are absolutely we have a focus when it comes to the new player experience, right? We identified a lot of things, got a lot of feedback, and for sure. So with Epic Games patch, that's also where we plan to kind of widen the player base, open up the doors for a lot more, reaching out on the Epic Game platform, and also starting marketing and activities. So that means we most likely are getting more new players, and then it's very important to retain those players, just like you said. We have some really good solid components and features, and also a Midland balancing of starting locations, the security zones, and obviously adding that more risk of reward the further out you go from those cities. So there's something from noobs to veterans. So absolutely, that's an important component that are one of the main focus we have also moving forward. Let's go Mortal Line 2, best MMORPG in this modern day. Indeed, indeed. The goal is to make a human player that has that chin line and beard like you, Henrik. Love the game. Thank you very much. Just want mage clothes, and we're getting 3 sets of clothes that we have actually finished and plan to implement as well around the Epic patch. Your GM team is quick response 99% of the time. That's awesome to hear. Obviously, we try to have logs and back end part of this to make sure we can follow up and see where we are good, where we're not good, and how we can improve things. Like I said, we have a really solid design of improved backend system that is connected to this, so you will get even more proper support and efficiency. Are your GMs paid positions? Yes, they're all external paid GMs, and they have no relations to the game or players or guilds. They are external GMs that does nothing but follow our structure and pipeline and following the tools. New player here, accidentally sold my starter sword that doesn't drop on death. Am I screwed now? Yeah, that's one of those things, right? That isn't perfect, I would say. Yeah, though you can't buy those swords, so that's a sword you should hold on to, because it's good to have that wherever you go in the world if you die and resurrect. There's been some great feedback here, obviously, when you're on Haven, that you can actually choose between what weapon group. I mean, if you're Axe-men, then obviously you want the Axe soul-bound axe rather than a sword, right? Or spear or whatever you choose. And that shouldn't be sellable, I guess, or droppable, or there should be a big warning that if you really want to do it, consider this. So yeah, it's one of those quality of life things, right? I missed it. Who gave out the awards that MO2 won? Couldn't find in Google search. So the Nyx Awards is a website company that every year they nominate and have a quite huge jury of game developers in different companies in the world that go through a lot of games in many different categories, and then they pick the winners from first to third place in those categories. And we were nominated last year, end of last year sometime. I didn't think much of it. But yeah, they reached out in a announcement of the current winners so far that are already, finalized. And we got those 5 awards, which is really cool. So we're gonna get those mini statues that is hand carved and printed with the title and so on, that all those huge game companies in the world have in their office. It's about time we get a few as well, right? 16 years of hard work. All right, I'm gonna catch up a little bit. So I'm not too far behind here. One moment. All right, let's see. Right, where were we? We were at, let's see. I saw a DDoS question here. So we had another small but important patch today, as you noticed. We had done additional updates on the servers and also gave a little client update, which is quite a lot of affected to security and DDoS protection. So yes, we are getting to a state where we absolutely need to be ready for larger scale of mayhem, to not be interfered by DDoS or other crap like that. So yes, let's see. And I give one sneak peek. All right, it's time to show you a little bit of what we have been working on. Can you make it more rewarding being a criminal? Isn't that, you know, rewarding in itself, because you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can kill and steal, which is an instant reward of that poor soul losing his stuff. Not sure if you need more reward than that. That's the whole point. Being a murderer, you actually, you know, what's the word? Thrive? No, prey on others' success, right? More wanting to be cream, I'm joking. Yeah, no, I think we are, you know, there's a natural risk reward tied to it, right? General, will we be able to TC to do parser between player owned towns? Let's say they have Tinram guards, so you can Tinram reputation in the south, for example. So there's quite a few things that are gonna be expanded on when it comes to standings within the nations and the task you can do to work towards that. So a partial run is just one of many to come. There will be quite a variation of tasks to do, pretty much. And that's also one of the things that will introduce new players in a good way. Wherever they start to play on Mialand, they can always start working for that nation and learn by doing so. Everything from transporting to escorting to killing to crafting to trading to, you know, various things. When we'll be able to name bags, I can't say for sure, but it is on a list quite high up on the quality of life function. So we always have one list that is critical bugs, issues that we absolutely want to iron out first of all. And then there's a secondary list that is good quality of life functions, such as naming bags, coloring in bags. There's quite a few really good quality of life things that you suggested. So we added those to the list, and we will try to make... Some of them are always on a bonus list. If we can make it, we're going to do it. If not, they simply have to go after these highest prior of issue bugs first. So they will be there somewhere for sure. The question is if it's around the Epic Game patch or where we are able to handle it, or it has to be a short after that. We want to make sure that we have a very controlled Unreal 5 engine transition, full stability on everything we have, and make sure that everything we have do work as intended and are, you know, fully enjoyable. So what I managed to do in these last minutes today is, it's been crazy, guys. It's so crazy with a lot of things on every single area in the company. You know, one of the challenge being a small company, I can't just pass this on to the CEO to just do CEO work for the company. because I'm that also, you know. So I'm always torn between different areas. So it feels like, yeah, I'm streaming every third day almost. So we're actually gonna we may have a very specific announcement next week. I may change that stream to a Tuesday to have that announcement. And then I may not do the Wednesday stream, so I may include them and put them on a Tuesday instead. And after that, I think that's also where we plan to do a more elaborated TC functions focused stream. Right now, I can only show you a little bit, again, a little sneak peek, I would say, of component for constructing a city, how those buildings are looking at this point, as an example on what they are. But in this next more planned TC stream, I plan to actually show you guys the new interface of a kingdom. That's the current name. We have a kingdom tab now for all the players that starts building their own kingdom. Obviously from a small village to a real mighty huge kingdom. And there's some really cool information on this kingdom tab where you can have good coverage of what's going on, what is required, all the ranks, who can do what, and how you're expanding, how you're looking at, you know, following that nice progression and see what's going on. Are you running a successful city? Or are you going negative, positive, or, you know, a lot of cool stuff. So my plan is to show some of that along with going through the basics, the rules and core functions of the TC system. Can you tell us which element categories sit on which primaries we want waste primary right now? Like, where does entity sits under, for example? Is it Arcana? Ooh, I would have to find that document to properly respond to that. Where do I have that? That's the question. I have so many tabs, guys. I have 200 tabs on my Chrome window. It's nuts. Entities. So, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I have to check back and confirm, so I'm not giving you the wrong information, guys. It's the Giga tab indeed. Sometimes you just have to let go of those tabs to start over. It's tough. It's tough to close them all down. But yeah, sometimes I have to clear them up, clean it up, because they grow. They grow slowly over time. Right, so I can show you a little bit what my artist managed to throw at me before I started the stream today. We have a baseline now for all our TC structures. Let me show you just let's see some of that here, guys. So here is a little image play, I would say, that goes through a few of the buildings that are finished pretty much. Obviously one key component is to make sure that the game has solid performance and, you know, players can build huge cities without wrecking the performance, obviously riding around. There's a lot of magic going about in the background to make that possible, so we don't end up as the early age of Valheim, if someone know what I'm talking about. Currently we're not looking at placeable walls, only the walls that are for the keep owners. Again, this is something that, you know, there's a lot of things that are in the question marks, and we want to hear feedback from you guys. If there's something specific we're missing and want to add in upcoming patches, such as small fragile walls that could be placed just to kind of slow down enemies or keep them a little bit at bay, but you can still break them down without having heavy siege machines. We don't want to reach the point where we are at locked world content, which we got to in the first game. So that's something we know, right? So it has to be a very specific case if that's something everyone absolutely would like to see in the game. But like I said, we don't want the locked content. Show it already, for God's sake. Someone is asking me a question here. Right, so let me show you guys some of the buildings here. So, right. So, yeah, it's just scrolling through some of the buildings here. So this is what you can guess. This should be a watchtower or guard tower from a more basic first tier level design and then more elaborated versions. This is the priest house where you have your priests, resurrection. This is, market stuff, as you can see. They grow quite impressively. This is another square type of building. We're looking into allowing you to place and design whatever you want onto these ones. I think this is a bank or something like that. I haven't named them, so I can't even tell which one is which right now. This one we can all guess, right? It's the stable. From a basic little stable to a large stable that obviously has more room and looks a little bit more improved. So there's quite a few different buildings, and we have the tier-based function on them. So you can start with tier 1, quite easy, cheap, and it offers you always different types of services or options or functions for the city. And then you can upgrade that to be more sturdy and get more functions, more services, or more NPCs to hire, for instance. So everything from shopkeepers. If you want security in your city, then you should obviously construct. There's some limitation as well on how much small city house owners can construct. Obviously, keep owners have the full out, no limitations. I mean, there's some limitation obviously of what you can fit and hire and so on. But for instance, constructing a barrack that allows you to hire guards, and in this building you set up a schedule for your working guards, so you need to make sure you pay them the upkeep, the fees, and then you also set the guards schedule time, so they won't just stand there like a statue 24/7 and protect you. They will work around 8 hours, and then they need to sleep and move away from the location. They go to bed. Obviously they won't be protecting when they're at sleep, right? So that means that you can decide that if you have a big downtime when a lot of you guys are asleep, you could say that most of the guards should be working, they should be protecting the city, keep it safe, and then they end their work when you guys may be active. Do you see what I mean? So there's some control of that. Yasutin, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it. Laza Wolf with the Prime. Thank you very much. Yasutin with the subscription as well. I appreciate it, guys. So there are certain places where you can enable the guards to be standing. For instance, these watchtowers, guard towers, we're looking to offer you the options to place a guard there. So they actually stand there with an almost 360 view and can use ranged weapons to, shoot those enemies. Obviously, there's always a line of sight. And there's a door down there that you can destroy and run up the tower. Obviously, same goes for players. A player can actually, that owns it, that have access to the door, can open the door, go up and shoot down at enemies and have that protection up in the tower if enemies are approaching. So you have strategic points in your city, in specific buildings, where you, as a guild, take place and try to defend your city from threats. And like I said, there are some doors that can be beaten down, and then obviously you have to adapt to that, have a choke point, and prepare for all that. So there's some cool components tied to all this. I actually have one siege weapon. I have another. I'm gonna show another type of image looping, guys, which shows like one of our guys built a little city, maybe not the most fanciest and proper planning, but nevertheless a little city based from a stronghold. And he was trying to play around with a Scorpion Ballista as well. Couldn't really get in a strategical good position, but it is what it is. And this is some of those pictures that he took when playing around from one of the square. Really nice, beautiful. Let's see what we got here in the play loop. So here we see some, you know, access functions, a tower. There's a alert tower here as well. Do you see that small tower in the front? That's alert tower, so you can actually pull and make a alarm sign, so everyone nearby hear it. You know, if you have made up the rules that if you pull that, alert all your guilds. A few other buildings here. One of the big priests' buildings. Stable. It's an upgraded stable, so a little bit larger than the first one. And here's an overview of some of those buildings. Constructing a little nice village with some of those towers put in a good place to have good overview, good protection, good alarming systems, and so on. This is one of the banks, upgraded banks from the interior, that is. And this is it the priests? A second tier priest, I think. Where you go and pray and resurrect. And this is, which one is it? Shit, I'm not sure which one this is. We have quite a few different, so there's a weapon siege machine in the background, I think there to the right, that they're pulling around. Markets where you have services, NPCs. Where we place this stuff, Lord? Wherever you want, as long as the game allows you to. So the key component here is to start your kingdom, is to start from your house where you enable your guild kingdom. You can do it as a small house owner, but that will restrict your area of influence, and also you can't just spam that little area with barracks, for instance. But you can have your small little farm, your stable or a shop or whatever you want, and you know, get a little bit of that. Obviously get a much bigger influence of area if you start from a stronghold. But you can't have walls. This is pretty garbage design. What? Are you not listening at all or what? So if we add walls, we're stepping back to Modern 1, which was a huge disappointment for everyone. And the game name was called Walls Online, and that's it. We don't want to play Walls Online. No one likes it, no one loves it. It sounds cool on the paper, but it didn't turn out as a game anymore after that. So obviously, if we have Walls Online, you will never see these cities, you will never have conflicts, you will only see walls. If that's when you want to play, then you can play Valheim perhaps and build those walls. But that's not really something we want to do, or no one really want to play around with. So Walls Online sounds fun, yeah. No, so that's the reason, right? We don't want walls, no one wants them, and it ruins the game pretty hard. We tried that, we tried a lot of that in the past, and it didn't turn out good. So, like I said, you have strategic buildings now that you didn't have in the first game, which means you can close the door, you can run up a tower, you can shoot down, you can protect your city from these tactical components, which you, again, didn't have in the first game. So that is the components that you have to adapt to. Walls would be so toxic. They were a big problem. Like I said, we don't want to obviously do the same mistakes in Modern 2 that we were struggling hard with in the first game. Those 10 years of experience should be put to use, right? Will NPCs ever attack cities? Yes, there will be invasions. We have a system in the first game that was pretty awesome, I have to say, that we're going to refine this time around as well. That will, you know, there will be some component that attach to this, but it won't be the, you know, there were some tries of this in EVE Online that many got very upset of, you know, all of a sudden overnight your city was wiped out by invasion, then you wake up to nothing. Not really good when the AI just wipe you like that, right? So there should obviously be proper mechanics in place. yes, like I said, easable breakable walls could be that other next discussion we want to try out on a test server. We don't want to have walls online, right? But there could be potential an option to have another type of wall, quite crude, quick to set up, quick to take down, but it's still there protecting a little bit or slow down for the first initial rush. I'm not saying no to that, it's just that we don't want to rush everything into the first beginning of the TC. We want to make sure everything is solid. It's a good baseline that we can expand on over time. So of course we can revisit some of those functions. But how close a real city can you build guard towers? So obviously all these services cost both money, upkeep, and there's also a prominence system enabled with the kingdom system. So everything costs prominence cost also. And that's something you can't just trade. You have to work to get that kind of currency cost for a lot of the services and upkeeps. So as a team, you will have a really good overview of who is contributing, who is a loser and wasting your prominence points to the enemies, or suspectedly losing them, or even just a poor bastard not good at protecting himself, or someone that are not contributing to your weekly or monthly goals. So you will have a pretty nice overview, and you can try to top those charts and be effective and good. And that is used as one of the resource types, currencies, to construct a successful city and maintain that city and keep those services at full effect. Can I spy on cities? Of course you can. And there's a lot of things that we want to promote to run a successful public town. Should also come at nice bonuses for those that want to do that and welcome everyone. Obviously, you can put down your security there, hire some good guards, put them out in a good way, and set the rules so they may not allow murderers or hostile players or certain guilds to be in that area of influence or nearby. Yes, we are gonna look on the placement system to make sure that there should be a proper reason for it not to be placed, and not just a tiny little slope or a little gravel of small rocks. So yeah, we're gonna go through that as well to get that polished refinement on the placement as well. We have got feedback on that it's quite hard to place some structures in the world where it looks to be possible to place it, but the game says no. So we're gonna look into that and polish it. Can I get a copy, please? What do you mean, Game Joya? General, what about ritualism overhaul and permanent circle? Ritualism is at a very bad spot. So we are delivering elementalism, as you know. When that's delivered, we're gonna continue on a round of ecumenical, ritualism, and necromancy updates. There's a few things we want to update, fix, and change there, which is the plan when we deliver elementalism. So we're not gonna proceed to additional magic schools and we have gone through all of those. And then when we're done, that's when we can move on to the next batch. Fast travel when? So we're looking at, again, refining the alliance system to allow you to have alliance chats, and possible to have a specific service that obviously also costs quite a bit of prominence and gold upkeep and so on, but that may allow you to tie to a alliance priest location. We are looking into very carefully again to make sure that you can't go back and forth on the run and bypass the location-based tactical locations, moving those equipment to participate in sieges and so on. But we do see obviously where it's may help to have some of those stricted possibilities to not only go to a home priest but additional options. We are looking into some of those explosion AoE spells outside of a wall that passes through on the inside. If there's something we can do to reduce that or change that. So it's something we're gonna look through as well. How many of these buildings can one player hold? So it depends on your area of influence. So if you just have a small house, you can only construct a few things very nearby, such as a farm or a stable or a inn or whatever. If you want to start a popular inn or a service or a shop, you can construct that, or like I said, build your own farm or crop things or breed animals later on. So I can't say exactly how many buildings you fit. It depends on the AoE and the space around you. We will get the spikes to mount the heads. Eventually, that's the plan, yes. I'm not sure if we make that in the first batch. There's a lot of cool things obviously we want to add. But we need to get to the goodies and the core first, right? And get that right. And then, we obviously going to be very open to hear what you want to see in the next update to TC to complement and expand it further. What's the difference between echoing and stable? Pretty much nothing. They're called echoey NPCs, right? But yeah, I just say stable because it is a stable also, right? When can we expect to see TC implemented? So obviously that's the big question, right? That we haven't officially said, and we will not really say it because of, depending on how everything goes. We don't want to disappoint. We don't want to feel rushed or stressed, or, if we have to postpone something, people get a little bit upset, understandably so. So we haven't set a date publicly. We're only working internally. But with that said, I have one more in-depth planned TC coverage when I go through the how do you start a kingdom and how do you maintain it. Because that's the cool thing. We're expanding it in a very nice system that we never had in the first game. And I'm very excited about this system. And that's the cool stuff that you need to learn about. So I plan to have one of those streams where I show a little bit of this and explain that so you can understand what to expect with this system. And then we plan to set up that public test server so everyone can stress the crap out of these systems. Obviously that means we are in a state of just finding bugs, and balance is the main focus. So that will obviously give you a pretty good cue of when we are planning to push it live. What will the buildings do? So every building comes with a service function. So they're not just empty, right? They come with something. For instance, a priest obviously comes with a priest service, a church thing building. And that's where you can set the rules to resurrect everyone, or only your guilds or your alliance or whatever that may be. If you construct a bank, then obviously you will have a basic banker, and then you will be able to upgrade to get these more expensive services and hire magical bank servers at your disposal. And that means you can actually be just as successful as any NPC city in the world with that kind of security. Barracks will give you guards. So in that barrack, you go in and negotiate, set the rules and terms with your guards. You equip them, give them, make sure they are equipped and paid, and you set their work schedule. They won't be online 24/7, like I said before. So that means there's some window where you have either a very thin overall guards all over the 24/7, or you have them more focused on only one window of 8 hours or so. Maybe that's when your guild is mostly inactive, sleeping, or at work, right? That's when you may wanna put all your guards at work to slow down any saboteurs or siege people going there. we get town vendors. Yes, one of these services is to construct your shop. So you'll be able to hire some of the basic NPCs that offer basic resources. So this is the thing that I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with in the next TC Focus stream. How do you maintain this? So in the first game, obviously it was quite a crude system compared to what we're doing now. So in the first game, you could hire an NPC for a small upkeep, and he stood there with infinite amount of arrows, infinite amount of golds, quite magically so, and you could just live out there in the bush and grind shore prowls into infinity and just sell them to this NPC and just print infinite amount of gold for your disposal without ever going to any city. This time we're changing that. It's not really realistic, and it's not really engaging with the world in any interesting conflict or non-conflict way. And that's where things get exciting, I think, with this new refined system. So these NPCs will deplete their resources. And that will also start filling another type of resources in your city. And that means eventually they're going to run out of components, right? So you can't just print more money or print more items. Obviously, if someone is refilling a little bit by trading and so on, it will get a little bit less of that penalty. But eventually, you're going to run out of efficiency and resources for your city. And this is where you need to do a trading routes, a supply run, I call it. And that is heavy goods. So this is where you want your Campanons, Mulva beasts, and fill those big bags because it's really heavy goods. You need to plan it carefully because it's high value for your city, and you want to trade those new types of resources with a standing nation in anywhere in the world of your choice. You can't just trade with your neighbor being 2 meters to the right of you and run back and forth and bypass this whole journey of risk for obvious reasons, right? And it's also how we mimic real life. I mean, there's a reason why one country trades with another country far away, right? Supply demand. Some things doesn't grow there or being manufactured there, right? We are mimicking the same way here to promote interesting trades and real exciting parcel runs, or so to say, to fill those supply lines and get that value back up and efficiency back up on your city. And obviously that's a risk also at the same time, right? So you will see a lot of traveling around in the world. You may want to hire escort services or whatever, that's the interesting part for the players. A lot of tactical components that comes down to this. How will you handle them and when will you run them to run your city successfully and have them at full capacity? So really interesting stuff here, I think. It's going to be very exciting to see what you guys do with this. Obviously, you can be a bandit and try to hijack someone's big caravan of supply resources and steal that from them, and that will obviously cripple that city of supply trade, which means they will have to go through a bit more of a cost to maintain their efficiency. And like I said, that depends also technically where you build in the world. Obviously, it has to be a proper regional trade difference for it to be efficiency. But that doesn't mean you have to go across the world every time, right? We have a shorter range to fulfill that high efficiency trade, if you know what I mean here. So that this is one of the components to just maintain your city in a high efficiency. 6 a.m. every parcel runs. Who says 6 a.m.? What does that time even mean? That's the beauty of a worldwide server. There is no such downtime or peak time that is extreme. There is a natural one, right? But it's quite variation, and it's much more even compared to all other MMOs, because they always have a completely dead period of time and then completely peak time. We have a much more even spread out, which is really nice. Wooden carts to pull the materials. So we plan to have the wagon system finished for this system, but we couldn't make it. It's very advanced, but we're slowly approaching that system. Now with the siege system we're building, it's a very cool system, again very refined from the first game, where actually you actually mount and sit down in the catapult and use those components to aim and shoot, and then you need other people to push that machine forward if we want to move it around. So it's a really cool system, and that system in itself does again build and add to our wagon ship system in the future. So we're taking those steps slowly forward to tapping into those systems as well. So that's really nice to see. But for now, that's why obviously we need to make sure that we have big bags for the Campadons and Mulvas, because those are the best heavy goods transportation options initially. Please explain the prominence system. Are you going to get feedback from players regarding this design? So it's pretty much fleshed out system. Obviously, when it comes to balancing or finding issues in it, is something that obviously we're interested in hearing from you when you also get to test this on the test server. But it's quite deeply rooted into everything, how this is balanced and how it works and how it gives interesting incentive of working towards a kingdom rather than just put gold to our NPC and bam, we have it all. It also helps by bypassing some of those items. You know, eventually over time people become rich, right? Inflation and so on. That's just how it is. Everyone can work hard and get a lot of money. But this is another type of currency that you can't just trade, or you know, it's not a physical currency in that degree. Prominence you can get in a few ways: fighting other enemies, nations, doing a specific task or kind of, you know, work, fighting specific mobs, bandits, threats, invasions in the world. We're looking to some crafting, trading versions as well. So there will be everything from PvE, PvP to non-combat function to work towards obtaining prominence value. And that is a cool way, because you can see how much you contribute to the kingdom, to the guild. And that is a pool treasure that then the leaders can distribute to who can obtain these, to utilize that kind of currency on the various things to obtain and maintain the city and all its services. Yeah, obviously there's a few things. Everything we're looking at into some house issues and guild issues that obviously ties to this whole TC system, and we want to make sure that we cover those issues so that is not a bug or interfering with this whole system, right? You need to have a skill to use this kind of war machines and big transport wagons. So in this version, you can only use manpower to move them around. So they're quite heavy and large, which means alone you can't move them around. You need manpower. So as soon as you have at least one more player, he can push it extremely slowly because it's still very heavy. But if you are we have currently a 4 manpower operated machineries, which means if you are 5 people in total, one is sitting there and giving orders and aiming and controlling it in the directions, while the 4 other friends are pushing it forward. And if you're all 4, then obviously it moves at a normal speed. If you're less people, it moves slower, just, you know, as it would in real life, pretty much. So it's not that you construct these siege machines across the world and then you start moving them to the enemies. You need to have a siege tent planted, constructed, and then you start constructing your siege machineries nearby, and then obviously you can start moving them much more efficiently because you're already at the location. And yeah, obviously there will be some bonuses for those siege engineering gifts, skills. Yeah, like I said, we are looking over the main issues that that players have with houses today, such as item amount decreasing, accidentally moving our furniture with a click. We want to try to polish that as well and make sure there are no critical bugs or annoyances. Do you talk about siege times or windows? Yeah, a little bit. We have covered that a little bit. Again, we're going to go a little bit more in depth later on. But in short, in general, we don't want an artificial timer to start that some games have chosen to do. It doesn't really fit Mortal 9. It doesn't really speak to us. At the same time, we understand the problematic by ninja sieging overnight and all of that, right? So what we're looking at is a more natural siege mechanic that kind of almost give that kind of window. So over time, your enemies will be able to weaken your supply lines, protection lines, and that will slowly over time also weaken the enemy's base, which means it will be more effective to actually siege them. And obviously that will be very clear for either side involved. There will be alert towers, information spread to the owners. So that means, okay, we are slowly getting to a point where we are quite vulnerable for an effective attack. Now we need to prepare, right? So it's not really possible to do the same type of ninja sieges as it was in the first game, which kind of was quite problematic. This is also one of the system, obviously we want feedback on, and you guys testing it, how those numbers are. Obviously, the reason behind this system is to kind of give that siege window being more efficient rather than an on-off switch, right? So that's something we want feedback on when we put this to test to see, is it following that logic and the goal we have behind that system, so it actually works and follow it. Can you explain the prominence system a bit? What sort of things can change your prominence? How is prominence related to ability to siege or resist sieges? So there are 3 types of prominence points. Might prominence is that you can lose and obtain in PvP against nations and other guild conflicts. We have what is the name? Surplus prominence, which comes from trading. And then we have the third one. What the hell is the name of that one? Which is tied to PvE encounters, invasions, working against those kind of stuff. And also, killing some bosses, monsters also contributes to this. Yeah. Yeah, glory, prominence, glory. Fog Dread, thank you for the prime. So, your guild can contribute in various ways to work towards those prominence points, which gets collected in your kingdom, and then the leaders distribute those options depending on the ranks, which means, if you want to construct siege tents, siege machineries, you need to spend a lot of prominence, and only those that can do it can access those kind of things. Sounds like griefing will give an advantage in prominence. Please tell me how, so I can explain that it's not. So you can't just... there's obviously a balance, right? Depending on how you get your main prominence. And we fully understand that if you just kill everyone you see to get a lot of prominence, that promotes to just mayhem and destruction without meaningful trades or tactical components. So obviously, relying on high, steady prominence flow is not a stable way when it comes to PvP. The stable way is more towards, working against the invasions on Mirland, helping, saving Mirland, killing bosses and mobs, trading and so on. That is a steady flow that is you can always rely on, and it's possible to do for anyone from small scale to large scale, from solo to large group play. So in a war, it's more like, okay, you may be losing a few points towards the enemies until you sign off, surrender. Then you prevent that from happening. So, and it's also based on ranks. So you can't steal shitloads of prominence by killing everyone. You get a few points by killing, depending on their ranks. So obviously, if you're a captain with high rank, you may lose a little bit more points. But we're talking about, a small amount of points being transferred in such battles. So the main content is in many other areas, and that is obviously for a natural balance. We want to make sure that we don't promote griefing, surging at 100%, destroying cities and houses left and right because it makes you rich and best. That's not very good and positive for the game world. We want to promote the opposite as a baseline. If you have a successful city, a lot of people want to use your services, you gain from that. If you have neighbors, you may want to recruit them to be able to obtain their area of influence and further expand your kingdom as a keep owner. And then obviously there will be other keep owners that want to steal your neighbors. And that is a more healthy, interesting, protect, kill, alliances kind of conflicts. And like, what about breaking through doors from all kind of structures? That is what is currently used to grief players just by hiding houses. So obviously that is a quite sensitive topic, right? We can understand that if you just go bash the door down with 10 strikes, that's going to be a grief thing, because no single soul in living in their house is going to be, surviving or feel safe, because there's plenty of people that just want to do these things, right? So they're going to go there, destroy all doors, go kill everyone that are simply crafting inside their little house in nowhere. So obviously we need to be very careful about that. But yes, there are obviously circumstances where you may want to really commit. We want to wipe these bastards. This is a bastard living close to our town, and they're always harassing everyone. Let's go together and wipe that mother foe to the space. That's going to be a possibility with TC. But it's still a commitment, right? Henrik, are you in Koto? No, I mean no guild, Jake. No guild. Raffle, no one feels safe in with house with elementalism as it is. So there are some big airway punches, obviously, in small houses. It's quite hard to take cover, right? We're fully aware of that. Obviously, when we're talking about larger structures, it's a little bit different. But yeah, there are some spells that we're looking to see if we can block some of that damage where it doesn't make sense, like fire hitting the wall, maybe that shouldn't pass through. Gas going through everything, maybe that makes sense. Some magic flying through everything, maybe that makes sense, right? So we are looking to balance that. Hey, Henrik, do you think parry lances make sense? Parrying lances. You mean if you're riding against me and I'm parrying your lance? If I had a shield, it makes a bit more sense, right? If I'm parrying with my dagger, maybe I agree. Maybe it doesn't really make fully sense, right? TC would just kill the game or brain dead. No, we're actually designing TC with that in mind, right? Again, we have 10 years of experience from the first game to see how all this play out. And we are promoting and extending every single component to give more efficiency without surging, more options without surging. So we're actually, greatly improving the system compared to the first game. But there's always a natural thing. I mean, if you go to the battlefield and you are 100 people and your enemies are 20, isn't it quite logical what the outcome will be, more or less, right? And that is something the players determines. Us developers doesn't say, well, you have to, lose 80 people of your crew because you need to fight fair. You will laugh at us if we say that, right? That's brain dead. So obviously there's always a natural strength in numbers when you just head out there fighting someone. And that's something we can't just magically change your mind in playing fair. That's crazy, right? But what we can do is promoting different effects, bonuses, functions that are more efficient if you are fewer. Things like that, right? And that's absolutely what we're trying to do. To give that kind of tactical options, being a small tight team, going for this and that, rather than a huge, huge blindless, chicken headless Zerg going for raw strength in numbers, right? You know. So why would a person want to put down a house when it can just be torn down by griefers? Because this is the thing, right? A griefer won't torn down your house because, first of all, if he don't commit into kingdom power and build siege machineries, he can't do shit. He can stand there with his hammers like he can today. That isn't efficient, right? So that won't happen. If your opinion as you're an enemy, sworn enemy, is worth them to commit, then yeah, you may be wiped. If you're just a random guy living next to a kingdom, that kingdom will actually ask you to put your alliances towards them because then you both will benefit. They don't want you down or destroyed. They want your influence. So they want to say, hell, please join us. We're going to protect you. And they may say, let me think about it. Or yeah, sure, why not? Or no, I don't want to. And that's when they have to decide, is it worth removing them or should we just build around him? So we absolutely promote non-griefing, non-killing houses because you profit from it, or if it's fun. It's gonna be pure hell for you to destroy a random house without a proper commitment. Does it make sense what I'm trying to explain here? I play solo, no influence really in game, just a friendly player. Yeah, so then you have those options, right? Wherever you live, obviously you may want to pick your location in the world, or close to a nation and in protection, or fully out in the wild. And if you want to, align towards a kingdom that seems to be friendly to everyone, and you say yes to them, you show your alliance to them, and you can live there without any problems, and they even have influence to protect you. So benefit from all involved. Obviously, it depends on who you live next to, right? Old Greg is gonna have Levia as bodyguards. Are gonna build these cities without our houses already placed down. So that is obviously something that is gonna happen slowly over time. The world will run out of space, right? Obviously, we wanna fine-tune the placement rules where it looks like you should be able to build here, but you can't. So obviously you want to tighten that up so you can build there also, right? And make use of the space better. But obviously, eventually, Milan gonna run out of space. That's just simply how it is. Even though there's quite a lot of space left. But the next step is obviously the second-hand market, or simply when we get to the upcoming continents, which gives you a whole new world to build your kingdom in, right? What are caster roles in this new TC? So keeps have an infinite growing power of influence. And the only small obstacles around the way will be other citizens which you may want to recruit to show their alliances towards you so they can continue overlapping and obtain that influence in the world. They have no limitation when it comes to that, so they can take over the whole world in power influence pretty much. Obviously there will be other keeps that they will collide into their influence, and that's gonna put that into a conflict. And then they also have more services when it comes to barracks and guards and so on. So they have pretty much full all-out options. What part of TC are you most excited about, Henrik? So one thing that I'm very excited about is to see how players will find their regionals, their trade routes, and fights for controlled power dominance, stuff like that. It's going to be exciting to see because, you know, obviously we have a lot of guilds that are really looking for PvP nonstop. That's what I'm seeing at a lot of streams, right? Hopefully we will see a lot of enjoyment for those play styles, and also a little bit away from the noobs and the noobs graveyard. I'm talking to you, man. I'm talking to you, Jake. So hopefully that's gonna be exciting and fun for them, and also exciting to watch when people tap into that conflict. That's gonna be cool. Obviously, it's gonna be cool to see player-run cities, to see how successful they are, who is growing, who is best at what, who wanna run open public cities and make them successful, and so on. There's a lot of cool stuff that comes with TC, obviously. Why is everything good up north? So the world is not finished populated, with which it will be along with the epic patch. So we plan to have a few hundreds or even 1,000 specific mobs spread out on entire Milan, especially in those areas that has less of these things. Everything from points of interest, mobs, mounts, humanoids, camps, a lot of hidden treasures and awards in different terms, because we're gonna need a lot more of those. They're already getting quite controlled by a lot of groups. You know, the few camps and dungeons are quite controlled. So obviously we need a lot more of all of that. So you always can go anywhere in the world and encounter a lot of these interesting components, you know, and enjoy that part, and not always have to be forced into one of the few dungeons. Yeah, a few thousand is planned to be spread out on Milan when it comes to this type of content. We are not planning to add a dungeon at this point. Only, like I said, a lot more spawners out in the world. Dynamic spawners. We are designing some really cool squads. So when you run out in the wild, you say, holy shit, what the hell is going on over here? And there's gonna be a freaking captain running out, screaming on his squad, and the whole squad is coming and ambushing you. And if you are a team, then great, you can go fight for death there. If you're alone, maybe you need to run away. So we're gonna add a lot of that. So it should be much more exciting to travel the world, have a lot of more of these types of encounters, from dynamic squads encountering from solo squads to larger squads. So it's not only focused on all dungeons and camps. Couple more Seto dungeon would be sweet. Yeah, there will be more Seto camps and scouts and squads of those also spread out in the whole jungle. There's going to be a lot more of those. So a lot more wildlife and a lot more bandit gangs, Rysar gangs, Satyr gangs, or groups. And then we have some different types of fighters in those groups to work together against any threats. Will you ever add mounted NPCs? Yes, we plan to add that eventually. I cannot say when though. Archer mobs needs to not be auto-aim. So they are not, but their stats is quite foobar. I agree with that. They either almost always hit or miss, right? Depending on the range. There's a threshold where the further away, there should be a much higher risk of missing. Just like a player is obviously much harder to hit on far distances, right? And we need to fine-tune those numbers. I fully agree with that. So, you know, if you have a movement on greater distance, they have a higher miss chance. If you're standing still, it reduces. If you are closer, it reduces. So yes. How many of these buildings can one player hold? I did respond on that before the Quebec. You need a kingdom to start building these things. Obviously, it may not be a real kingdom if you just want to start your own breeding grounds or a farm next to your house, which you will absolutely be able to do without too much effort. So it all depends, right? If you want to build something small as a house owner, you can do so with not too much effort. Obviously, the greater and larger and more services, tapping into strongholds, then obviously it's going to be more of a team effort. And then keep is the infinite power growth that it just depends on your resources pretty much. It's possible to claim a kingdom without having any border for a kingdom. No, you need to have some influence on what you want to try to claim or get alliances from. So without walls, won't someone be able to grieve guards very easily? Well, that means they are probably becoming an enemy of your city, right? Which means they can't use your city at all. And, you know, that means you have an enemy at your door. Like in any place in the world. Our goal is obviously to make sure that those guards fight back. And there's no real benefit from him trying to piss off a city and try to kill a guard, because there's nothing really for him to benefit other than being blacklisted from that city or even wiped from that city. But sure, there can always be a murder that wanna, you know, steer things up, just like anywhere in the world. Need walls, 100%. No, please. we don't need walls. Like I said, we don't want walls online again, like we had in the first game. So we need to start with this system, as we said, and then there may be room for very specific, simple type wooden walls that you can quickly put together, but you can also push them down quite easily. We don't want the siege mechanics, walled off components, walls game online, because it didn't turn out good. But like I said, it's different from the small temperate walls, or how we call them, palisades. Yeah, something like that maybe. I'm not playing if I can't have walls as a solo player. Why? Like I said, if we're talking palisades, if you're pissing someone off, they're still gonna break it down and go in, and you have no walls, no difference. If you build something successfully and set up protection, you can fight them off. If you're always alone, then, you know, obviously it's also gonna be maybe difficult to run a successful city, right? A city is usually obtained by a group of people or players and citizens. So they shouldn't have cities, end of discussion. Like I said, it rings false bell to me, right? One player building a city, how would he obtain it and run it? And, you know, obviously, you know, maybe possible, but maybe quite demanding. Faithful Peppa, thank you for the subscription. The design you're talking about is going to create so much conflict and give us so much to war over. Good job. I'm almost as excited for this as I was when I tamed my first mulva, and that's saying a lot. Thank you very much. So when are we doing the girls' night out? Maybe around TC. Yeah, it's. I'm obviously very excited as well that there's going to be a lot of interesting components that offers for all playstyles, I would say, and there should be plenty of action for those that really want player conflicts or war with each others. We're getting those components obviously with TC. And yeah, Mulva bags and Campadon bags is coming then. How will TC play for smaller group skills? Will there be points for them to use coordinate tactics to attack and disrupt? Yeah, so this is one of the cool things, right? Even though you are the biggest Zerg in the world, you can't be everywhere in the world, right? And the world will be, there will be spread out. We don't have the exact name yet, but there will be some kind of control influence structures. A lot of them spread out on entire mainland. And you can claim them all, but in practicalness, that's not going to happen, right? So that means that huge Zerg may want to go for all of them around their whole region, but small groups can do hit and run tactics and take them down from them and take over them. And obviously the Zerg can't be everywhere. If they want to, they have to spread out, and that means the Zerg is no more a Zerg. So there are some really nice component that is, you know, making it not effective for one Zerg to be in one place. They have to pick the location, and small groups can go coordinated to one of these locations, take it down, take it over, secure it, and then move away quickly. So that's going to be very exciting to see how those being traded by the all groups that want to tap into that. You got to do that for sure. Did you make the character yet? I have not yet made that character. I have to do it. I have to do it. Henrik, I really love the Unreal 5 Dragon preview. Do you think the dragons will come in different colors? Yes, they will be in different types. So this is actually our so-called... There obviously a real name, a specific lore behind every single Titan creature in our world that Matt's gonna provide for us in detail in the game. But this is, in general, our fire dragon. There will be different types of elements and types of dragons and other huge Titan-like creatures. So yeah, absolutely. This is why this one is a little bit reddish, brownish. It breathes fires, and then there will be other elements that have a little bit different colors and looks a little bit different. It's two Zergs, but those two Zergs won't be everywhere, I tell you that. There will be, I don't know, over 60 locations in the world that you can, you know, claim and fight for. And two Zergs can't hold them all. It's more effective, I would say, to be a 5-squad, hit run those locations and try to secure them. And then there's a window when you can't really claim it again. So that's when you have hold it and get the bonuses from it. And then again, someone else can try to get it, or you try to defend it. But obviously if it's far away from your base in your squad, then you may not have the time to protect when it happens. The Tinram Opera track with the latest singing, it will be added again. We plan to add it with the Epic Game patch, so a lot of cool things and refreshment is gonna happen. World populated with all these thousands of creatures, mobs, and dynamic spawners, and more mounts, and a lot of cool things that we enable on that patch day to make it exciting for everyone, including all veterans, to jump in and see all these new things that are, you know, heavily tested, but just more added in the world. And yeah, some nice updates like the chore woman singing. Do you think the tower dog is the best pet? But how long from main cities will guilds be able to block towns for other players? So with the nation zones coming out, the kingdoms like Tinram, you can't just stay next to Tinram and kill things, because the Tinram Empire are gonna wipe you out. There'll be patrolling path, guard outposts from Tinram to Fabernum, you know, down to Meduli. Obviously less security out there, but there's an influence, because just like you, the Tinram Tyrannic Empire have their influence and power and control. And so far the Tyrannic Empire is one of the mightiest on Mirland, so you can't just go there and piss them off, you may be pushed back. So depends on if a new player is living in Tinrem, they're also a little bit protected in large areas around Tinrem. Obviously we're not talking about Lictor guards running out there. And there's also some patrolling paths and specific outposts that new players can stay close to be somewhat protected, and also have the influence of giving murder counts and nation penalties and so on. And there will be a much greater depth when it comes to nation standings with that patch also, which means you may just be allowed to enter the city, but you don't have enough standings to talk to NPCs or services to obviously until you're banned, and then it goes further. So you may get discount, you may have access to some NPCs that no one else can because you have such a high standings with that nations. The guards will salute you very respectfully and keep an extra eye out for you, and may even follow you around to, you know, make sure you're even more protected. Those are the things we want to expand on as well, as much as possible, so it makes sense when it comes to high honor and standings with these nations. So player seed locations are predetermined and not completely free to place when and where you like. No, they are free to place. But like I said, it depends on where you build. Obviously, the surface needs to allow you to build. It can't be a rock or tree in a way. But yes, you can construct your city wherever you want. It may be inside or nearby Tinremic influence or patrolling path to a degree, but there may be some influence that push you out of that, so you can't just build a city just out of Tinrem port, for instance. And if there are mounts other than dragons, there will be some other huge creatures, some flying other than dragons, yes. But there won't be a common theme to be flying around on creature. That won't be the typical thing. That will be a rare, specific case, I would say. The traditional way of transporting and moving around will be on mounts, wagons, and ships eventually. And then, like I said, some cases where it arises, you could fly on some creatures. You can get user with DDoS protection. We actually enabled a new tier of DDoS protection today. That's why we had a little patch, and so far so good. And we will see monitoring how this progress, as every time you have to do when it comes to DDoS. That's the whole thing with DDoS, right? So we are absolutely expanding when it comes to DDoS protection, and hopefully we will be in a very good spot very soon. If you go to help chat now, you will see some pretty gross people talking. Yeah, please do report them. If someone is breaking the rules, the GMs will do their best in removing them and take action. Obviously, the help chat should be only there for the right reasons, which is new players asking questions and that kind of interaction. It shouldn't be anything else. And with the new backend system, that's going to be much more efficient, and we're going to make sure we're monitoring everything on Epic Game Release. And it's very simple. Use those services, follow the rules, and you will be fine. If not, you will be removed. And we are looking to add some of the rules, like you can only be there a certain time when you're a new player, and there will be helpers in that chat. So players and veterans that want to help new players can actually sign up for being helper, which means you can talk in the help chat, and obviously with the purpose of helping new players. And as long as that's being done, then everything is good. It sounds all very complex. Will there be some explanation in game? Yes, so that's why I wanted to make first one stream dedicated TC rule stream. So you will get a better overview of, okay, so this is how it's going to work. You get a decent picture hopefully. And then obviously the next step is when you will be able to test this system as well on our test servers to get a final refinement, balance, bug fixing, and so on. Obviously there's a lot going on, right? And just talking about it, there's so much going on. So that's why I'm gonna try to break down the core rules. And they're really fun and exciting, and I want to show that in a stream. And maybe it will be not the next stream, but the next one again, maybe, if we can make it in time to showcase that. It will be more clear, obviously, when we've gone through that a little bit. Yeah, it's time to roll it, actually. Let me find a program here. One moment, we're getting close to 2 hours. Like I said, I try to aim for 2-hour streams now, so I don't bore you too much and looping the questions over time when new people arrives, making it more interesting for you guys. Okay, so I just started the sign up for the giveaway, so type !MA2 and we will get things rolling in a bit. Let's say, so I'm on 150. Let's roll it on 158, shall we? 158, just before we are ending the stream. Let me start this one also here like that. So guess what? Hot damn! I actually got a new cold again. Crazy! I've never been this frequent sick in my entire life. In my young age, I was never sick. What was it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago? I got a cold, and then I got good. Then I got another one. Then I got good, and now I got my third one. Jesus! Hot damn! Hot damn! But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So it is what it is. I think the stress is actually reducing my immune system a little bit. I do take vitamins because yeah, there's no sun here yet. We have a very low D vitamin sufficiency when there's no sun, right? So I do take extra D vitamins and C vitamins not to have that missing. But it seems like I'm quite non-resistant for slight colds. But yeah, sleep and stress does that to you as well. It's stress makes you so skeptical to getting sick. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Henrik, how many push-ups can you do? I tried that a few weeks ago and I did, how many did I do? I think I did 35 or something, close to 40. So pretty decent. And I actually just started to hit the gym again to try to build up everything, you know. I can do at least 2. That's better than 1. Another one. Chakub, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it. And Nimbus Actual, thank you for the prime. We'll be able to set up a siege even without owning a keep and siege camp. So there will be some requirements to set up a siege camp. Come at quite a cost and investments. We're gonna cover some of those details later as well. So it's not just, you know, go to a random house, start sieging because it's fun or you're gonna make money. That's not gonna be a thing, right? We want to minimize that, or people won't build things, right? Nu är det fan snart vår. Då vänder allt. Då är det Rose och Altan, Henrik. It is RPM's gaming. It's true. The sun has been here a little bit actually. So that's gonna be nice. Physically shape the gigachad. What? We were able to sell our own things on NPCs with TC. So we wanna expand on this further so you can actually put up your groceries and items, right? We're looking into if this should be to an integrated broker system in your city or if it should be a separate NPCs. I'm not 100% sure at this point yet. So this is something we're gonna most likely expand on, and we want to hear from you as well if there's something missing or something very specific we should consider. Can you explain why we can't build walls around the cities when keeps have them? Was kind of looking forward to that aspect of the game. The stable master, yeah. So we tried this in the first game, you know, to a full extent. So the upside is the obvious, right? You build your small city and you construct your walls and you're hanging inside of the walls, chill with your group, and yeah, just chill, right? Without any threats jumping you. That's the obvious upside, right? The downside is you're gonna see walls absolutely everywhere in the world. You're never gonna see any houses, never gonna see any cities. You're just gonna see walls. And since they're dynamically built, they're gonna look like crap. And then you're gonna have everything walled off, all dungeons, all locations, any specific choke points, transportation locations. There's gonna be walls. And the wall builder's gonna own it and harass everyone in the world behind those walls. That is a downside. And that is not a small downside, right? It's a game-breaking downside. So that is the main reason why we don't want to start with that function. With that said, we are gonna revisit small palisade possible options with limitations on that could give you us a thin line of this kind of security that is also quite easy to break down without any siege commitment. That's something that we may want to consider, right? To give you a little bit of that first touch. Does it make sense? Oyo Amulva, what kind of question is that? Do I look like a rhino with fur? Why can't you just not place walls everywhere? Am I the only one thinking this? What? Oh, did you hear my explanation just now? Be Goody, thank you for the subscription. 30 months. That is impressive. No walls. Play MO1. Walls online. Yeah, like I said, the negatives, you know, beats the pros heavily. But like I said, there may be suitable way for a light version palisade construction that you can build within some range in your influence, and those may not be a big investment to take down if someone wants to. You know, we have to see. But obviously that means you're gonna see palisades everywhere around everything, right? So it's still gonna be that kinda boring world that is closed, because now you can enter a city and talk to them and socialize and be a citizen, and they greet you and salute you and say, always buy from us here, you get bonuses, and they get bonuses because you're going there. A really, really good interaction. The game gonna shine as hell with this for everyone. You're not gonna see that either. So yeah, we will see, right? MO1 has cities and walls. Yes, and it became walls online, and you couldn't go to a single location or dungeon or anything. You never saw people because the people were inside the walls, and the game world died. It wasn't alive anymore. No interactions, no fun, and it wasn't good. All right. So we're not going there at this point. Like I said, we can examine a possible palisade function later on if that's something that we think fits and it doesn't hinder this kind of play interaction we are promoting, and also not, walling off some things or stupid things. Ain't no one want to farm all that wood, let's be real. Maybe small barricades can be broken, but walls are used for gatekeeping and nothing more, speaking from more experience. Yeah. I did play Shadowbane a little bit many years ago. They didn't have a European server, but I did play it when it released, and it was pretty cool game. All you need to do is look at how people arrange their houses to know there should not be walls. Just don't allow walls anywhere and in choke points. Easier said than done, you know. We have a large, open, dynamic world. How far away are we from pet armor and a revamp of neck rituals? Brass. So we have the armor done for the Mulva. We have the bags for a lot of creatures done that we're gonna add on along with TC. We need those heavy goods transporting things. Necron rituals gonna be a thing, or we're gonna go through that after elementalism. So we're not jumping to a new school after elementalism. We're gonna go back on ecumenical, spiritism, necromancy, and refine some of the things there that we want to improve before we're moving forward. I have a full beard of a mother Mulba. Indeed. Holy shit, okay, it's time for the giveaway, guys. We are hitting the 2-hour mark. So let's roll it. Thanks for a glorious game. You're welcome, Krelken. Krelken the mighty elementalist. Right, I'm gonna jump down and it's time for the roll. Key distro time, indeed. Let me just jump down. Whoa, weaver. It's time, guys. It's time. I want to wish you a very good luck. And not a Christmas anymore. Let me find the button. All right. Here we go. Merry good luck. Hope you feel better, Henrik. Thank you very much. I'm pretty okay. I think I need 2 days and then boom. All right, here goes. Good luck, everyone. Merry Easter. That's true. We got fucking Easter this week, right? Damn, time flies. All right, let's go. It's giveaway time. Boom. Congratulations, Morvar. You're lucky, son of a bitch. Morvar is the winner. Let's see if he's here. Morvar, are you here? Are you here, my friend? Moto wins every time. Rigged. Always rigged. I'm here. Great. Let me grab you that key. Where do we have it? We have it here. No, there you are. You got the key right there. You just enable it on Steam and you're good to go. Morva, are you a new Mortal player or old, or share your info, please? I'm always interested. Yep, I got him. Morva. He spoke. Indeed. Alright, that means we have done the giveaway and we are on ending notes. Morva, what did you say? Are you new to the game, or are you a veteran, or are you a super veteran? That's the question. Oh, can't believe I actually won something. Haven't tried out the game yet, but been following for a long while. Awesome, Morva. Then you were lucky today. You get to try it, right? And obviously own it. Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool with some new people following, getting a shot and winning the game as well, right? So yeah, I hope you enjoy the game and get into the game and not get too scared when you face the threat of death in Mortal. Embrace death and item loss and you will be fine. You thrive when you adapt to that. Right? Owning it until subs. No, everyone buying it or getting this key owns it, right? You have your account, you have your character, and you own it. The subs is for some obvious reasons, right? Whenever we need to ramp things up and be able to continue development, continue support it, continue offering you the best true sandbox game in the world, period. Death is only the beginning, that is true. New meat. Jake, if you see more of our, be kind for freaking sake. We need to let them learn how to run and wield that sword, right? Before we give them a challenge. Third person, you know, that's the thing. If we introduce third person, everyone is forced to play third person. That means no more immersiveness, no more first person skills, no more first person jump scares, no riddles and what you see is what you see. No, they will be hiding around corners, cheating around corners because you can just rotate the camera. It's not good. And we also developed the entire combat and all the system to work in first person. So, you know, obviously we know a lot of people coming from those other MMOs, you know, World of Warcraft made it a standard to be third person, but it punished a lot of good stuff that makes Mortal Online even better. You know, you can hide. If you hide your character, you see what you see from your own eyes, and that is a cool thing. So we don't really want to have third person in Mortal Online. And, you know, again, we know that many people are missing it, ask for it, but just after a while they got into it, they never looking back and fully understand why third person would be worse for a game like Mortal Online. So we hope you all embrace it. We need a horse jump. That is true. That is true. It's gonna come eventually, the horse jump. Is Jake the new Schmerik? But yeah, awesome. First person, so good. Agreed, Henrik. Yeah. I mean, it's really nice. It's cool. It's a very nice experience overall, and everything is tied to it. So I think it's a good thing to stay true to. Horse jump would be dangerous since 20 cm drop kills your horse. Obviously, we need to make sure that the jump isn't killing your horse. But yeah, just running around, jumping over a little fence or a rock gives you some nice player skills as well, right? Adapting to that environment, not just getting stuck on it. It was nice and it worked very well in the first game, so we're gonna get it back eventually. Henrik really loved that big girthy bad dragon in the Unreal 5 preview. Keep on rocking with that awesome updates. I'm glad you liked it because holy shit, I like that dragon. It looks so freaking good. It's the best dragon I ever seen in the gaming industry, period. And I really salute our artist that made that amazing dragon. Who won the giveaway? Morvar, a new Mortal player joining us, won the key. The updates on the game become more often than fixes. The patching has been pretty slow, and I would expect at least weekly or bi-weekly patches in subgame. Yeah, so obviously some things have happened a lot of latest 3, almost 4 weeks, right? We got a very persistent kid that have been DDoSing, buying a lot of DDoS services against our game servers and doing that non-stop. So whenever we had those things when someone are disconnected from the game or stuff like that happening, that's have been DDoS every single time. So we haven't gone close to any of our capacity population on the server, which is really exciting. We're slowly growing, but we're still not close to any limitations. And we've been working very hard on exactly this issue. In one thing, it's good it happens now and not in an exciting TC patch or Epic Game release. So we're making sure we improve the security and have better DDoS protection, so you won't get as negatively affected, when it really matters. So we have been quite busy the latest week on that. If that wouldn't be the case, then obviously we have spent more time on other things that were planned. We did plan to work on specific DDoS stuff before Epic Game release, but obviously we had to rearrange the schedule to do it now instead because we were hit by it, right? The good part is we don't have to pay for those DDoS services. We get those for free by a very generous kid out there. So thank you again for that, helping us. It would be nice if we could do a few more DDoS right now, actually, because we want to, see how that turns out. But anyway, it is what it is, and it's something we're prepared for, and obviously always sadly have to spend some time on. So yeah, we're getting there for sure. We have a new system deployed today, and we are following up to make sure that everything is good, right? This isn't our first rodeo. That is true. The thing is, we have a whole new degree of DDoS from the past time. We have handled it quite well. If you look at some other games, how they typically handle it, it goes straight down. So we've done a lot of work, but we also done work to make sure that it runs for in the long run and on a greater scale. And we knew that we had to improve it further for the Epic Game release. So, doing it now instead, obviously, works for us as well, right? As for DDoS, then laugh. No, I mean, of course, you know what I mean, right? It's better getting it done, better improved now than later, I guess also. But yeah, we had some DDoS over the years. Every now and then, it's something that always happens to every single game in the world, and it's just a matter of time, right? And it's just a matter of how we handle it and improve it moving forward. That's the only thing you can do, right? Did it put the servers down on Monday, or was it DDoS? We got DDoS heavily then, and we had to take things down to, again, update things, and things took longer than expected. So yeah, we have got DDoS every single day except yesterday, I think. So we got like 5 to 10 almost every day for quite a while. So he's spending a lot of cash on this, and we're saving those cash to not spend that when we want to test it, which is quite amazing that someone is willing to spend quite a lot of cash to make huge attacks towards our servers. It's interesting thing, right? I mean, if you don't like something, why do you throw money at it? It doesn't make sense in my world, but I guess it does for some strange people out there. All right. Let me work. This game is infinite potential. Thank you. And yes, this is just the beginning, guys. It's gonna be a very exciting year ahead, and hopefully many years to come. It must be salty, indeed. Could be a dev trying to stop MO2. I doubt it. Usually it is angry kids that doesn't really behave well in society. Some of them get jail time. Some of them get other stuff. What goes around comes around. Been playing Black Desert online for 6 years, and I'm happily surprised how balanced you've been able to make all the variables with in MO2. Monokuma streams. I'm happy to hear that. Obviously, balance is a thing that can never really be perfect in a game like this. Also because there's so many very different components that just doesn't simply balance each other's out perfectly. It just depends on situation and circumstances, right? In many cases. But yeah, we are very happy to have a much more balanced state of the game than we ever had the first game. We see all variations of clays being used. We see many more weapons and armor types being used, and obviously many crazy cool builds is being shuffled around right now, doing really cool stuff, and that's just awesome to see. People are experimenting with some nice builds. Some of them may not be effective, some of them may be, but that's the cool thing, right? You never know. So that's really cool to see. We do plan to add points of interest on the water eventually, yes. So the thing is, we don't have water creatures, as you know. We don't have the fishing feature. So along with that, to give you more love to underwater creatures that you can interact with, and then also, yes, more content underwater also. Oh. When do we get sunken ship points of interest for us swimmers? Eventually, over time, right? Over time. We will, over time, add more and more of that. What is your favorite profession in game? Hard to say, hard to say. I like so much. I like the depth of our crafting system, obviously. I think it's really cool when it comes to players going really deep, researching and testing, you know, alchemy recipes, crafting. Every now and then you see a new type of weapon popping up, becoming a new meta or whatever. The potions haven't been discovered yet. I see a lot of people experimenting and having a race towards those potions, which is really cool to see. And that obviously adds to the market, and the market, the demand and the supply will put the price on things. It's always cool to see that being self-evolved in a game like this. It's really cool. So I really like that whole depth of that concept, and it's all fully player driven, obviously. Just make Haven free when subscription come. That is one of the plans. We plan to expand on Haven a little bit and make it free to play with some restriction to give players a chance to get a taste for the game before committing. Yes. Yeah, we're going to take a look at the placement system we have for housing with TC, so it isn't as much of a headache. Yes, we have got that feedback. Stain, thank you for the gift. You guys keep up the good work. Thank you, Stan. Other world points of interest. There will be some slowly expansion when it comes to the other world as well eventually. There's quite a few things we first want to put on a specific level before we keep pushing some of those other areas. Yeah, cooking needs some adjustment. We are fully aware of that one as well. I need some input from Mats before we can take that step. Sneak peek again. I mean, I can just quickly... some of the TC billings tier 1 to tier 3 with some of the services. You can guess what this is. Stable. Let me jump down and get some ending notes before I quit the stream here today. Any thoughts about weapon abilities? Yeah, so we have special abilities coming later after Epic Game release is the plan. All weapons gonna get at least 2, maybe 3 special abilities. They're gonna spice footy fighters up quite a bit, and including foot archers. You're gonna be able to. One of them is that you can parry with your freaking bow and do some quick shots and other cool stuff. So there should be some more interesting tactics for melee and archer. And some other shots from one of our devs built his city a little bit randomly. Here's some picture of that. So no, they're not player-made roads here. We have built some buildings that have roads in the middle like this one, so you can kind of build squares. But we are looking into possible how we can give you some more road tools to, you know, connect the entrance to passing through, stuff like that. But for now, we don't have that mechanic. You can only like place the squares and so on that kind of have that road inbuilt. Is there any plan for any safe places like Heisek in Evoline? Yes. So the zone rules that we have listed on a roadmap that is planned for the Epic release patch, that is exactly that. So there will be from Heisek, pretty much like Evoline, to Nullsec, which means lawless areas, no murder counts, no standings, no consequences to murder. So yeah, it will be from more protected nation standing based areas for all starting locations, and then the further out, obviously the less protection, no murder count, etc. Looks nice, and we are still not doing walls in MO2. No, exactly. So we had a discussion before. There's many reasons why we don't want walls. We saw why also in the first game. So no walls at this point, but there's a discussion where we may want to visit some kind of palisades, something easy, small to put up around to kind of just slow down any threats without, you know, you can still beat these walls down quite easily without too much commitment. It's not a siege, you know, component you require. That is maybe something we want and fits. You know, again, we need to consider what does that mean? Will everyone just build palisades, you know, everywhere? It's a pretty cool thing when you can enter a city, it's open and you can interact. You can be an enemy or you can be a friend, right? Or just a citizen that wanna pass by, or someone is adventuring out, fighting stuff, and then you pass by and say, wow, this is a nice city and I can trade in that city just like I would in Tinram, for instance. So we want to try to promote a lot of that at least, and then we will see. I was thinking some small fences people could jump or scale will make it feel better. Yeah, like I said, the palisades or something like that. That could be the thing that could fit and work without having walls online too. Never play interactions. Everything was walled off. Every single city in the world was closed off with walls. It looked ugly as hell because people just placed them madly strange. And people that wander the world just saw walls. Walls online. So yeah, we don't want that, right? But maybe something with some restriction. You can build X amount of palisades nearby your base. Maybe something like that could fit, right? Just add walls and give everybody gliders. Also, where is my waifu pillow mount? What the hell is a waifu? Walls online, indeed. That's a little bit what Modline 1 became, sadly. It wasn't a nice experience. With TCS coming, I believe there will be blocking of content like mini dungeons, for example. When will you be expanding the entrance to open the other ones? So that's the thing, right? We will make it pretty much impossible for you to close off or wall off or build off dungeons. You won't be able to build close to them. You won't be able to wall there, like I said. You won't be able to put guards or towers nearby there either. So that's something obviously we want to balance, right? Don't do it. If there's any walls, we will never see anyone again. Yeah, that's one of the big downside, right? The player interaction can be so cool and interesting. And like I said, there's so many adventurers out there that just want to pass by, re-gear or re-trade. And if they find a cool, nice city, the city owners benefit from that trade. So they want to, want to promote that kind of trade and let them use their city services for beneficial, bonuses. And if those were just all walled off, then obviously we kill all of that interaction and opportunity for city owners to be more successful, right? So we have to look at that, and we don't include it in this first round of things. Like I said, it's a big question mark around it, and it's specific rules and so on for us not to kill those things that we want to promote, right? There we just kill them. But if walls couldn't be placed everywhere. Yeah, like I said, that's something we are willing to revisit, right? And see how it could work, how it could be balanced without wrecking some of the component we want to promote, right? If there's any walls, the main issue is the only way to get PvP is to siege if there's any walls, which is toxic and bad for the game. Thank you for being so passionate about the game. Yeah, sure, thank you. I mean, this has been my 16 years project and life work, so indeed, very passionate. What about allowing people to build modes? Yeah, maybe that's something that we can absolutely look into. There's a lot of things that you can obviously propose and suggest that may fit perfectly, and it may be something we want to look into, test, experiment, and maybe then put on test as well to see if it's working. There's a lot of cool things that ties into TC. The next batch we want to add as fast as we can is the meteor structure buildings. That is really cool system. There's going to be meteoroids falling in the sky every now and then, and you can go there, claim them, and go back to your city and place them in a very specific structure. And this structure give your guild city members powers and bonuses in different ways. But they are also obviously a very attractive target for anyone else, right? So that also promotes interesting sieges, skirmishes, going for relics rather than just sieging the buildings, right? So we can expect a lot of cool stuff tying into that system, and we want that quite early on because it was very exciting and successful in the first game. So we want to try to push that as soon as we can. But there's a lot of core component and extremely expanded systems from the first game that we're adding this time around, and they need to be really good. All right, you can check the bits. Did I miss any specific question here? Let me see. So final stuff here then before I need to end my stream. What about towers that display the color corresponding to guild, alliance, neutral, war, criminal, and add NAP category with the white color that you can make and disband whenever you want? So what as you know, we have a die system that we want to add to the game as soon as we can. It allows you to both extract and die all your gear, pretty much. Not hard surfaces, but all soft parts, banners and flags and so on. And then we have the guild emblem logo system. We want to allow you to design your cool art for your guilds, right? But since that requires more time, we can't spend the time on that right now. We are adding a few different colors of types of banners and flags that you can use. So in TC Sieges, you may want to pick one of these colors so you can easier identify friends from foes. It's at least one little option that could help you guys, right? That's a request I got from some of you before, and I hope if everyone agrees that yes, that's a little improvement to help with that, we can make that happen while we wait for the more robust completed system that will give you full control of that design. No wall, no, not initially. That's not what we're adding, no. Do you plan on adding different house paints, building styles, etc.? Yes, there will be clay-inspired house types over time, but not yet. We need to add TC, the core of all that whole system first. And then we can slowly expand depending on what you guys want to see first. Alright guys, I think that's it. I'm only 30 minutes overdue today. So, not too bad, not too bad. But alright, my nose is clogging. I have this cold, so I need a little rest so I can work tomorrow as well. So, I want to thank you all guys for participating, hanging out in tonight's stream. We're going to make an announcement if we're going to make a change for next week's stream. It could be a very, very, very specific stream next time, and we may change it to be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. We're gonna make the announcement if that's what's gonna happen. Keep an eye out for that, because that's gonna be mind-blowing and shake your world and shake your brain into madness and hysterical thoughts that I'm gonna tell you all about. All right. So thank you all for your questions, your donations, subscriptions, and all of that. I appreciate it as always, and I appreciate hanging out with you guys. So let's see, who do we got on today? If we're gonna do a little raid, let me do the usual votes. So you help me pick. We have all classic streamers, I think, a few streamers on. Let me do the little quick votes, all right? Help me with this. All right, 1 minute. Vote quickly, guys. Quickly vote, and I will pass the raid. Chickaboom next Tuesday. That looks to be the case. Yes, so keep an eye out. We're gonna make an announcement if we're gonna do the stream on Tuesday, and it's gonna maybe be a very special stream. We will see. Yeah, cast your votes. I will do the raid. Raid Jonah. I don't see Jonah online. He doesn't seem to be streaming. I only see 6 streamers, and that's the one I put in the raid vote option. All right. Squirrely is in the lead, guys. Is it gonna be Squirrely today? A master fisherman, a really nice, very experienced fisherman. I think he's probably the best fisherman in our world so far. Right. Squarely it is, guys. Want to fill a Chickaboom? Can I get one copy of Mortal 2, please? Andre Chirling, don't you own Mortal 2 already? Alright. Let's do the Squirrely raid, guys. What do we have? The raid button here. Alright. Okay, guys. Let's do this. Square. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much. And I will see you next week. It may be a very, very special one. So keep an eye out. You're gonna be in shock. All right, let's do this. Let's say hello to our master fisherman, Squirrely. Right, have a good night, and I will see you soon again. All right, bye bye and good night.